Now, I'm going to show you something very unique with Turbo and a few other coins, and I want your guys' opinion on it. Now, I'm only bringing this up because sometimes I see people arguing in my comments saying, Turbo bad, Turbo good, Turbo versus this, Turbo that. Listen, right? Listen, pay attention to this price, right? So you notice how, boom, right? We have this bottoms, we have more bottoms, boom, we have a rally, and then we kind of have like sideways movement and like kind of an aggressive sell-off, right? Kind of like small aggressive sell-off, right? Let's compare it to a few other coins, right? Let's compare it even to something like Caspa, right? If we go to CASP, oh my God, does that not look familiar? Where we kind of have a bottom, double bottom, a rally, kind of sideways sell-off movement. Does that not look almost near identical? Or what about, there's a person in my videos that hates on Turbo. And a lot of you guys, chirp back at him. But it literally, something like Pepe that he holds, right? Boom, has similar price action going sideways and then aggressive sell off. I'm telling you, when I say this, the markets are rigged and they're very, 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 very similar and near identical, which is why, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it doesn't really matter too much what you invest in, right? As long as your coin is in the system, the whales are accumulating it, right? You're going to actually have a very, very, very similar structure. Now, yes, some coins will be pumping harder. Some coins will do a little bit worse. Some is this, some is that. But ultimately, we can see that in terms of the structure that I just showed you, it's like the same. It's like the same. Now let's go to another narrative that doesn't even really apply for us, right? Let's go to another narrative. Wow, look, Render has something similar, right? Render looks very, very similar. So, I see sometimes people chirping about certain coins, chirping about Turbo. I'm telling you, I promise you, right? The moves are near identical. They might be like 15, 20% like different just because one might go up an extra 5%, one might, not technically form the cleanest double bottom or whatever. But ultimately, guys, when your coin is in the system, it's going to do well. This is why I am high on Turbo, okay? Because Turbo is in the system. I've been saying this. Turbo is manipulated by whales, which is what you want. You want your coin to be manipulated because who pumps these types of coins when they're this big? Not us, not you and me, not 100 of us, not 10,000 of us, right? These coins are at very, very large levels. Okay, we have to understand that Turbo is roughly at 300 million market cap, right? It has $85 million worth of volume in the last 24 hours. I'm sorry, is my, am I and my channel, my subscribers, are we moving this coin like this? No, we're not. We are just little ants. Most of us, in fact, are just holding, so we don't even contribute to this volume, right? And this is the crazy thing is this is not even the highest volume that Turbo gets, right? When Bitcoin and crypto are more active, this is like an average volume for us. We can hit hundreds of millions easily. So I'm just saying this right now, right? Turbo is in the system. Turbo is in the system and Turbo will do well whether you want it to do well or not. Okay? Because the whales are manipulating it. I just showed you, other coins that are either in the same narrative, in a different narrative, or completely different, and they have such a similar structure. So look, ladies and gentlemen, this is a good thing for something like Turbo because if we did not have that type of structure, then of course it would be a little bit more concerning. Now, here's the thing. Of course, there's still anomalies. There's still gonna be times where a coin might explode a little bit earlier. And then, for example, maybe Turbo explode 2 weeks later, blah, blah, blah. But ultimately, they all play out the same when they're in the system, which is why I'm super, super high on this coin, right? We still have Robinhood also, right? We still have Robinhood. We have maybe other potential exchanges that I'm not aware about. Turbo clearly knows how to innovate, right? Turbo's really good at innovation in terms of collaboration, partnerships, right? Certain deals, things outside of just crypto, right? They are really good at putting their brand out there, okay? they are near perfect. If I were supposed to be super, super, and I mean extremely critical of Turbo, the only thing I wish they did was animated videos, kind of like Ponky, right? But that is it. But even then, when they don't, they are still practically 10 out of 10. You could even debate that they're 11 out of 10 because they are destroying other meme coins with how much innovation and how much movement, how much everything is happening in this whole crypto scene. Now, look, ladies and gentlemen, right? Look, like I said, each coin moves a little bit different, right? Some are going to pump a little bit harder, some are going to pump a little bit less, but Turbo will have its time. Turbo looks really, really good on when we look at the monthly, right? The last 2 months have been really weak sells, right? Really, really weak. And we can see that we closed very, very nicely, right? This black candle at the bottom closed at 0.0036. It closed above a support. We tapped into this huge order block, right? Huge, huge order block. And ultimately, right, from tapping into that order block, we also tapped into this monthly candle. We can see when we break it down, the weekly, the daily, the 4-hour, right? We were just tapping into zones consistently, right? We were also creating a nice reverse head and shoulders, right? Where we have this, which is like the strongest pattern you can have for bullish, right? Head, shoulder, shoulder, right? And we have been just fundamentally going up higher and higher. When the markets do start going up fundamentally higher, right, from the bottoms, that means these bottoms are going to be the final bottoms. That's what that means, right? When we see something kind of like even move kind of quickly like this, it usually does mean there's some type of pullback. Now, did we think we're just going to pull back this much? You know, part of us, there was a part that we did, right? Because we were talking about how this was such a key zone, right? This was such a key zone. You have to remember that when we actually look at the bigger picture, this is the biggest key zone that we have. Once we kind of officially leave from this area, we're not going to come back until bear season. I can promise you that. I'll say that right now. I will say that right now. Once we officially start closing above 0.0046, we are leaving this area for good, right? We are leaving this area for good. Our next target is going to be 0.0065. And of course, after that, our next relevant target is going to be around 0.008, right? Those are our next relevant targets, right? This little green box over here, then of course, taking out this high, then of course, flipping this resistance into a support. After that, right, we have two more relevant zones. We have the all-time high, which is, 1.5 cents, well, 1.4 cents. And then of course, eventually, this is going to be the main thing, whether or not we are going to really explode this cycle, is this huge resistance here, right? This huge key resistance here. Boom, 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 right? Because it all comes down to, right, are we going to have a good cycle or not? Now, I think we're going to have a great cycle. Even just in terms of market cap, hitting like 2 cents it's like 1.5 billion market cap for us. It's not that crazy. It's really not that crazy, right? But boom, boom, whatever happens, this is going to be the next big resistance. The thing is, once we flip this, we are going to be flying, right? We're going to be flying. Now, I know some people are a little bit skeptical, this and that, but you got to remember, guys, a lot of altcoins are down. It's not even our time yet. It's not our time until Bitcoin dominance really starts selling off. It is not our time. Yes, can we start slowly climbing up? Yes, can we start doing stuff fundamentally? Yes, 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 yes. But is it our main time? No, 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 no. When things start to shift is when we see a decent sell-off of a couple percent, right? When we go from pretty much 73.5% to down here to 63, that was a 10% Bitcoin dominant sell-off across a month, right? Once we see something like that, where we sell off like 10% in a month and then we start going sideways, then that 10% move is going to be the start. Then this consolidation means we are preparing for the big sell-off, right? So there's like 3 phases. There's the phase of us just consistently recovering slowly and surely, right? While Bitcoin still does this thing. Once Bitcoin kind of tops out slowly and it starts to shift, that is when phase 2 is going to happen. That's when you're going to see Turbo kind of consistently go up higher and higher. Then it's going to be slow again. We're going to enter phase 3, which is going sideways, right? It's going to be going sideways. And then phase 4 will be the final biggest pump, where we will be potentially pumping a couple cents a day, right? 1, 2, 3 cents a day consistently until we hit our zone. Trust me, I've been here for the other cycles. I've seen how crazy things really get. But that is it, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you guys did enjoy. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Goodbye.